Welcome to the Beyond Bound Coach and AD Professional Development Series, a weekly online professional development for athletic administrators and coaches. Join us as 6 former ADs now employed by Bound and with over 100 years of combined experience discuss topics important and beneficial to ADs and coaches. Join us on this journey of professional growth. We're here to help you take your coaching and athletic administration to the next level and beyond.
All right. Good morning, everyone. It's May 3rd, 2024. It's time for another edition of Beyond Bound, our professional development series for ADs and coaches by ADs and coaches. If you're a first-time tuner-inner, what we try to do here is we try to give you some tips, some tricks, some suggestions that can help make your life easier. And along the way, we hope to maybe impart some wisdom and maybe even some humor into what we do and what we talk about. So today's topic, after Aaron so graciously took what I was going to do last week and did it so much better than I'd have done it anyway. So let's not pretend like it was a travesty. So this week, I'm going to talk about something that I think we've talked about, but maybe put a new twist on it. I'm going to talk about self-help, which I guess to me is a little bit of an oxymoron. Help is great, but can we really do it ourselves? You know, I went to the bookstore and I couldn't find the self-help section on my own. I had to ask somebody, you know. So is it really self-help if you can't get there on your own? Okay, that's the question that we're going to ask. Ironically, like I said, I think this is a bit of an oxymoron, and some of the things I'm going to talk about as I go through this short presentation, it will seem contradictory to what the topic is, but I think it'll come back around once I get to the end, and then it'll really hit home with you when the smart people in the room start talking and I'm done. But first thing I want to talk about is talking to yourself. We maybe have mentioned this and said it before, but you need to verbalize the things that go into your head. If you're thinking things, it's a lot easier to think negative thoughts. But when you speak them out loud to yourself, you force yourself to say positive things. Then you hear the positive things. So go ahead and talk to yourself. Nobody in society thinks it's weird to hear people walking down the street talking to themselves. You always used to look and think, what's wrong with that person? But now they're probably on the phone. So nobody's going to know the difference when you're talking to yourself and you're walking down the street. Don't worry about it. Focusing on positivity. I think Todd does a great job of this with his daily blog and the way he always talks. Working on positivity. You got to focus on those things because it's so easy to get caught up in negativity because it's all around us. It's what's on the social media. It's what's on the news. If you look around the world today, it's so easy to see the negativity, but you got to focus on the positive things that are happening in your life. And there are a lot of positive things happening in your life. You just have to look for them and focus on them. An attitude of gratitude. You have to practice that. When you do something for someone or someone does something for you, practice that gratitude, not just to them, but to the higher power in your life. There are so many things when you focus on that positivity, you're going to see that, and then it'll be so much easier to practice that gratitude. Be thankful for the positive things that are going on in your life, because like I said, there are tons of them. You just have to find them and focus on those. And here's one I think we all as ADs struggle with is setting boundaries. Sometimes you have to say no to people. Sometimes you have to say no to things. I can't, you know what? I can't serve you well with this because, you know, I don't either have the time or I don't have the skill set maybe to do that for you. So you have to set boundaries for people. And this is where I think my next section is going to seem contradictory. We're going to set boundaries, but then I'm going to go talk about becoming a servant leader. You know, we all do that. We all have talked about this in many of our Beyond Bound episodes. But what I want to talk about is not only within your school, within your teams, but outside of your school. you've got to have something, and this will help you set balance. It'll help you set some boundaries. When you're working at things outside of your school, whether it be local organizations, it might be a church, it might be a VFW or a Lions organization, any type of outside organization. It might be a conference affiliation within athletics or activities. It might be a state organization if you're involved in your state coaches association or your athletic association. You might be serving the state activities association or your state AD organization. But when you get involved in those things, you reach out, or people reach out to you, and it becomes an invitation to you because they know that you have something to offer. Then you start to give back. And when you start to give back, you actually start to fill your bucket. You start filling your own bucket. My organizations, my involvement in organizations started when Jim Dorman stopped me at a track meet one year and said, "Hey, how would you like to be the SDI AAA technology director?" So I said, "Yeah, that'd be great. I'll do that." And that led to involvement in the Professional Development Academy at the state level. And then that led me to volunteering for a national committee. I was on the certification committee for the NIAAA. And now I work as a Professional Development Academy member for the NIAAA. And those things, when you give back, you just get so much more than you ever put in. I get to meet people like you. I would have never met all of you guys had it not been for my involvement in those things. So giving back, becoming less self-centered, actually becomes more fulfilling. And you meet people who can help you along the way. And then that becomes back to that self-help thing. Those people help you help themselves. I have people I can lean on here simply because I became involved in other things that were outside of my organization that gave me things that I could bring back to myself and to my school and community. So when you think about self-help, think about reaching out to other people to allow them to help you help yourself. We rise by lifting others. So I'm going to turn it over. I got Todd, you're up first, my friend.
Thanks, Joey. This is, I love this stuff. You know that. And well said. Great. I think first thing that came to mind is we're flooded with making over 35,000 different decisions per day. Choices that we have to make. So we constantly have so many things flooding our mind, and how we lead ourselves is one of the most important things that we do every day. And I think that's one of the most important choices, one of the most important decisions that we have to make every day is how we're going to see the world around us and how we're going to interact with it. But if we're not leading ourselves, there is no way we can interact with the world around us in a positive way or see things the way they need to be seen. So my encouragement to all the ADs, all the coaches, all of us is to, number one, lead yourself every day. Make that choice, because you've got 30,000 plus other ones you're going to have to make, but that's the most important one you're going to make every day.
All right. Yeah, absolutely. Can't lead yourself. Who else can you lead? Yeah. Brian.
Good stuff as always, Joey. Todd, also really good. Todd's message yesterday, for anybody who read through it yesterday, was very, very good. So just a couple things that stood out to me. Number one, I want to talk about when you talk about setting boundaries. Being able to say no is really hard for ADs and for coaches, in my opinion. You chose to be in a career where you're going to be out front and always helping others. That's you chose to do that. So that makes saying no to things really hard. And so, but I can't tell you how important that was for me at times to be able to just say no and say, no, I can't do that. I can't do it well. I remember my first years being an AD, I was also teaching, I was also coaching, and I was doing none of them well, you know? So I went and talked to our superintendent. I said, I want to do a good job, and I can't do a good job being AD and a teacher, you know, and I was ready to go back to the classroom if I needed to, but just being able to realize that about myself, I wasn't good enough to do that. So saying no is an important thing there. Set some boundaries. The only other thing I really want to talk about is you're being positive. So very hard to stay in a positive frame of mind. And this, you talked about helping others, Joey, and that to me is it's the secret sauce to staying positive. Figure out a way to go help other people. And you know, I like all those ideas, you know, talking to yourself, being positive, all those things. But if you just try to stay in a bubble, it's almost impossible to stay positive. But you got to get around other people and help other people. And that can fill your life. That can help. And that could be your family. It doesn't have to be outside your home, but we were built to do more than just help ourselves. And so that's hard for me, staying positive, but I find myself, when I find myself helping other people and not wanting anything from that is the most positive points of my days. So really good stuff, Joey. Deep thoughts for your Friday morning, that's for sure.
Thanks, Brian. Yeah, that's great. You know, as a coach, you get into that mindset of you're trying to fix things that are wrong. So you're looking for the things that are wrong, but the spin is you're trying to fix it. You know, you're focusing on the fix, which is what you should do, because that becomes a positive. That's how you turn that negative into a positive. Yeah, Mark.
Yeah, the whole presentation was awesome. Your last little point was also very, very spot on. I really like that. I just want to highlight a couple of the talking points here. Just one's kind of funny to me, you know, talk to yourself. What popped into my mind right away is, if anybody watches Jordan Spieth golf, we watch him around here because his caddy went to our high school and was one of our students. And so we all kind of cheer for him. But that guy's talking to himself all the time. I don't know if it's all positive, but I think he needs that self-talk to keep going. You know, you just knocked one into the woods and you got to figure out how you're going to get out of there. And if you ever watch it, he'll walk in there and he'll be going, well, you know, maybe we should do this, or how about that? What do you think about this? And a lot of it, he's just talking to himself. He makes a bad, you know, hits a bad shot and he'll go, oh, Jordan, what are you doing? You can just hear it on pro. Anyway, that popped into my head. And then the positive, superintendent in our school was our principal at one time, but he has a phrase, he uses it all the time. And the phrase is, always presume the positive. You know, you're in a situation, you're going to handle difficult situations, always presume the positive about the people involved. He preaches that, he pushes it hard, that you don't go into a situation with a negative thought. First of all, it's going to bog you down, and it's going to bog down the situation. So that popped into my head. And then the servant leader part, I think I would challenge athletic directors that are out there watching this. As a servant leader, think about being a servant leader, as you said, outside your school. I think that's really important, but I'm going to take it a step further and make sure it's not still related to your occupation. Find some way to serve others. You know, maybe it's at church, mission trips, whether they're local or far away. You know, you talk to anybody who's been on a mission trip and you went to help people, you went to serve people, and they come back and they're going, I never realized when I headed out that I was the one that was going to gain the most by this experience. And I think you have to do that away from being an athletic director to, again, have that balance in your life. You're leading yourself, as Todd Gordon famously says. Good job, Joey.
Yeah, you talk about that outside of your school, outside of your own organization, and yeah, every time that we do something, the reward of seeing somebody who appreciates being helped 100 times more than I think they are helped, we are helped. It just
Absolutely
fills the heart. Yeah. Aaron, you're going to back cleanup for us. Literally. You're number 4.
Literally batting cleanup in the 4 spot. I was going to mention before I started talking, we moved Todd Gordon up to the 2 spot last week to get him more at bats, and you being a better manager than I am, Joey, decided, hey, no, we got to move him up to the leadoff.
It's like Ricky Henderson.
Yeah,
he's got 2-base walk that he gets every time.
Yeah. You get Todd Gordon on base and
now minus the speed.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're identical.
Here's the thing: we get Todd Gordon on base, good things will happen. We just pinch run for him, though. I mean, we would do that.
Where's Jarvis when you need a pinch runner?
There you go. Gosh, Joey, good stuff here this morning. So, having me back cleanup could be rough. And there's a couple of things. I mean, there's just great things on that. I don't go to it enough, but this book, the Stay Positive book from John Gordon, sits on my desk, and a lot of times I'll just reach over and grab it and flip to a page and read something in there to refocus myself when I'm finding myself getting negative. So that is the being positive thing and focus on positivity. The thing I like most about what John Gordon talks about when it comes to positivity, a lot of people want to shy away from that, especially in our world. We want to kind of go that old school stereotype where coaches and we're men and we don't need all that fluffy positivity stuff. Positivity isn't about avoiding problems. It's about looking at problems the right way and focusing on things the right way, being solution oriented and making things better oriented, not negativity and just complaining about stuff. And there's a difference. But I think the thing that overall came to mind as I was going through this is the idea of the oxygen mask on the plane. We've all done that, but when you're on the plane and they're getting ready to take off and they're going through the whole spiel, and of course you're not paying attention to them because I got to play one more game before I got to turn my phone off, right? But one of the things they talk about in there is if we lose pressure and the oxygen masks come down and you're sitting next to somebody who needs assistance, they tell you put your oxygen mask on first. You can't be your best self and you can't help others and you can't lead the way you're supposed to lead if you're not taking care of yourself first on that. And so it's one of the most important things we do. And Todd always hits on that whenever we talk about it, is lead yourself first and then you can lead others. And it's just so important to do that. It's important our kids understand that too as well. So when I was doing my leadership stuff with my student athletes, we spent the first semester talking about becoming the best leader, like leading yourself first, because you can't lead others if you're not leading yourself first and making sure you know how you feel about things and how you react to things and how you set your goals and things like that. So it's a recurring theme that if we want to be the best leader and servant for others, we have to be the best leader and servant for ourselves first. So great stuff, Joey, and always a great reminder.
Yeah, thanks, Aaron. Appreciate it. I appreciate everybody, all your thoughts and your wisdom, and for carrying me through another episode. I appreciate it. Tune in next week for another edition of Beyond Bound. And remember, we rise by lifting others. Have a great week.